The worst experience I had at an audition was a network test. When you're going up for a television series, you audition, you go through this whole audition process, then finally you have the network test. The network test is when the entire executive staff of the network, as well as the executive staff of the studio, pour into a room that's too small, get really overheated, and have people do their auditions in front of them. These are all business people, and each one of them is worried about their job. And so it's a really horrible place to walk into. Add to that, you have negotiated the next 6 years of your life before you walked into the room. You're not allowed to walk into a network test until you've signed a 6-year contract. So you've spent the last 2 days talking about how much money you're going to get paid over the next 6 years and what size your trailer is going to be, or not going to be. And usually it's a fairly insulting process. And sometimes you have to wait in your car because they're still arguing about something. So you're at the network test and you can't go in the building until they finish talking about something that they're stuck on. So finally you go in. Now you're in a room with, say, 3 other people who are up for the same character as you, and they all have their contracts with them that are signed. And maybe 5 other characters and 3 other people for each of those characters. So it's this huge event. The worst one for me was at ABC a long time ago, when it was in this old building that had these horrible theaters that weren't really theaters. They were kind of like, they had seating like a theater and then a space where you would stand like a theater. But unlike a theater, when you spoke, the words went kind of, they just landed. There was actually no life in the room whatsoever. It was complete dead space. You could hear the sound die as it left your mouth. So I go in. It was my first network test. The money, even though I look at it now, was to me enormous. But it really was a horrible, horrible deal. But at the time, it just seemed like so much. So I was very stressed out. And it was this very stupid sitcom. And the scene was very stupid. But at that moment in my career, that was a great job. And the scene had some physical comedy, and I'd made up some funny things that I had done in the audition, and they just laughed and laughed and laughed. I thought it was so funny. So we go in for the test. I go in first. I do my whole thing. I do my little things that were very funny, and they laugh so hard. Like, they just think it's the funniest thing in the world. Somebody else goes in, and I hear them laughing, because you can also hear half the time. It was just horrible. Anyway, they couldn't come to a decision after this network test. They knew they didn't like the other girl, but they still were thinking about me, so they decided they needed to test me again. So this time they tested me against somebody that they flew in from Chicago. Now, I've gone into the room with all the executives already once. This girl hasn't. She goes in first. Rolling laughter, like laughter rolling down the hallway. You could probably hear it next door. I go in. They've already seen me do the scene the way I do the scene. It's like crickets. It's like the deadest, most horrible, horrible experience. So you think, okay, horrible experience, done, wash it off, go home. I go downstairs into the lobby, big lobby. I get on the first phone. The other actress goes and she gets on the phone on the other side of the lobby. I call my agents. I say, you know what, it's not going to go. I could hear them laughing so hard at the other actress. It's not going to be me. It just felt really bad. And they're like, no, you don't know that. It's not really true. I said, yeah, I do know it. My instincts are usually right about these things. I know exactly what's going on here. As I'm on the phone with my agents, and she's on the other phone, I see all the executives come out of the elevator, walk past her and say, congratulations, because they can't see me at the other phone. But they are about to see me because they have to pass me on their way out. So I see them congratulate her from getting the job, see me, become horrified, have to recover, say something nice, and then leave the building. One after another. There were like 30 of them. It was the most embarrassing, horrible situation. It was humiliating 30 times.